Recently, China announced comprehensive control and restriction on the export of gallium and germanium, two major chip raw materials. Any products related to gallium and germanium are strictly prohibited from being exported without permission. Gallium and germanium are crucial raw materials in semiconductor manufacturing and are also important production materials for new energy vehicles, medical equipment, aerospace, and aircraft missiles. Gallium is hailed as the backbone of the electronics industry and the new staple food of chips, while germanium is known as the magical element in the medical field and edible oxygen. Both are core foundational materials in modern semiconductors. According to the Tendata system, China is the major producer of gallium, leading by a wide margin. Therefore, China's move to restrict the export of raw materials is a perfect counterattack against the United States' chip suppression. Hong Kong's South China Morning Post has reported that China accounts for 95% of global gallium production and 68% of global germanium production. The globally proven gallium reserves are approximately 279,300 metric tons, of which China occupies 68%, reaching 190,000 metric tons, while the United States only has 4,500 metric tons, accounting for less than 1.6% globally. Russia ranks second, followed by Ukraine. Both countries are currently embroiled in conflicts, with Russia facing NATO sanctions and Ukraine's industrial system being weak, making production impossible. China holds a monopolistic position in the global gallium market. The globally proven total reserves of germanium are approximately 8,000 metric tons, with the United States occupying 3,800 metric tons, ranking first in the world, and China holding 3,500 metric tons, ranking second. In terms of reserves, China and the United States together monopolize the global germanium reserves. From a commercial perspective, the best option for the United States to mine germanium and gallium is to transport them to China for refining and then export them back to the United States. This approach has the lowest cost and can achieve a beneficial positive profit cycle after investment. Just like rare earths, China imports 25,000 metric tons of rare earths from the United States annually, accounting for 99.8% of China's rare earth imports. After purification in China, they are then resold to the United States. The United States does not lack rare earth refining technology but lacks a rare earth industry chain. Rebuilding an industry chain requires substantial investment costs and the cultivation of a large number of industry workers, which are time-consuming and significantly increase industrial costs in the United States. In the field of gallium, the United States also faces an unresolved challenge: scarce reserves. The United States only has 4,500 metric tons, while China has 190,000 metric tons. By locking down the export of gallium, China causes a surge in global gallium prices. This can be seen as a major countermeasure against the joint chip blockade by the United States, Japan, and the Netherlands. In the gallium industry chain, the United States primarily focuses on the production of gallium arsenide semiconductor components, positioned in the upstream sector. Among the top 10 global companies, the United States occupies 6, while China has only one company from Shenzhen on the list. However, in terms of gallium raw material production, China monopolizes 4 companies, and 53% of imported gallium in the United States comes from China. This indicates that if China cuts off the supply of gallium, the gallium arsenide semiconductor manufacturers in the upstream of the United States would be powerless. Once costs rise, maintaining global competitiveness becomes challenging. Domestic gallium arsenide semiconductor device companies in China can replace American companies and move towards the upstream sector. In the past, when the West imposed semiconductor sanctions on China, China had few countermeasures. But why is there now a counterattack? In my opinion, it is mainly because China's automobile exports have developed in recent years. When the United States sanctioned Huawei smartphones, Chinese electronic products, mainly smartphones, had just begun to enter the world market. If there were a direct confrontation with the United States, the entire smartphone industry would face significant pressure. However, now China's automobile exports have reached the top of the world, mainly consisting of conventional fuel vehicles. Conventional fuel vehicles have very low restrictions on chips, and domestically produced Chinese chips are more than sufficient. The automotive industry not only brings industrial upgrades but also provides more international bargaining chips. The ongoing chip war has escalated, so what impact will China's restriction on chip raw material exports have on traders? Firstly, it will cause a disruption in the chip supply chain. China is a major manufacturing base for global chip production, and many traders rely on China for their chip raw material supply. Restricting exports may lead to supply chain disruptions, making it difficult for traders to obtain the necessary chip raw materials, thereby affecting their production and delivery capabilities. Secondly, it will increase chip manufacturing costs. If traders cannot obtain chip raw materials from China, they may need to source from other countries, which could result in increased material costs. Additionally, seeking new supply sources may require additional time and resources, further increasing costs for traders and impacting product delivery timelines. Due to the disruption in the chip raw material supply chain, traders may be unable to produce and deliver products on time. This could result in order delays, customer dissatisfaction, and even potential loss of business opportunities. Faced with restrictions on chip raw material exports, traders will need to seek alternative solutions, such as using different materials or technologies, or turning to suppliers from other countries. This may require product redesign or adjustments to production processes, bringing additional costs and time pressures. The US-China chip war has brought instability and uncertainty to the global chip industry and related sectors. Businesses need to address these negative impacts and find appropriate strategies and solutions to ensure the sustainable development and competitiveness of their operations. Meanwhile, governments of various countries also need to seek ways to resolve disputes through dialogue and cooperation, in order to maintain the stability and sustainable development of the global chip industry. What are your thoughts on the US-China chip war? How does it impact your import-export business? Feel free to leave your comments in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe to our account.